Hello, this is Harvey Blankfeld of the Brown Blankfeld Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services of Nevada, and I want to thank you for choosing the Brown Blankfeld Group for your real estate needs. I am recording this video in February of 2019, and you should know that the SRPD, the form I'm talking about, will likely change in the future. These forms are dynamic, they change, and so if you're watching this video sometime well beyond February of 2019, just please understand that some things may have changed. And these explanations may not apply to the specific changes. Also, want to remind you, I'm not an attorney. Anything I'm saying should not be perceived as legal advice. I'm just a salesperson, a real estate agent, and I'm trying to help my clients understand this form, which is why I'm making this video. Let's start off. This is the SRPD, the Seller's Real Property Disclosure Form, and I'm going to start by reading you this top line on the document. It says, in accordance with Nevada law, a seller of residential real property in Nevada must disclose any and all known conditions and aspects of the property which materially affect the value or use of residential property in an adverse manner. You need to tell your buyer with this form anything and everything you're aware of that's wrong with the home. Tell the truth, be completely honest and open. If you're not sure, over-disclose. The form is intended to let the buyer know anything and everything you're aware of, so do that. Now, some things you may not be aware of, but certainly let them know everything you're aware of. Now, you should know also that our broker does not let us complete this form for you. There's only a few things I can do, and I've already done those on this particular example. But you need to know that's why we send it to you, and usually we don't like to use DocuSign or a form such as that, because there's a lot of completions that need to be made, and we want you to think carefully about this and make sure you fill it out honestly and openly. Up top here, you're simply putting in the address of the property, the date you're completing it, and if you've ever occupied it. Now, if you currently don't occupy it, but you did in the past, this is still a yes. Now, down here, the type of seller, are you a bank? Are you an asset management company? Are you an owner-occupier, which is what I've checked off here for this particular client, or other, which might be an investor/landlord. You could have lived in the property before, but be a landlord now. You'd want to say that here at this part. Now, on page 1, the question you're answering is related to systems and appliances, and it says, are you aware of any problems and or defects with the following? Are there any problems or defects, for instance, with the electrical system? The answers are yes, there is a problem, no, there are no problems, or NA, we don't have that system in our home. Now, it's not likely you don't have electrical. Hopefully you do. But some of these things will be NA. Like it's likely you don't have both sewer and septic. You only have one or the other. So one of these will be an NA. So you're going to want to make sure that you check that. And there may be other things in here in the form that you don't have. A couple other interesting questions on page 1. Water treatment system. Do you have one? And is it NA? Or if you have one, do you own it or lease it? This is a good place to disclose that. Same thing with the alarm system over here. Do you own it or lease it? Are there any problems with it? And down here is other. This is where you would put in things that aren't on the form. Do you have, for instance, an example would be a steam shower. Do you have a steam shower? And is it working okay or not? This is where you'd want to disclose that. At the bottom of this page and every page thereafter, you're going to want to initial right down here where it says seller initials. You'll initial that. If there's 2 of you, there's room for both of you to initial. Page 2. Let's get right on to page 2. Page 2. Property conditions, improvements, and additional information. It says, the question is, are you aware of any of the following? Now, on this page, you're talking about more general things, but the first section is all about structure. And the first question is one of only 2 places on this form where you'll see the word previous. Here, where it says, have you ever had moisture conditions or water damage? Have you ever had it? This is one of those few times when you have to think back. Did you ever have water damage in the home? And if you did, disclose it. Disclose it here. Let them know. The other one where it comes up is down here under number 7. It says previous again, and that's with regard to mold. Have you ever had mold in the home? You need to let the buyer know about that here. The rest of these questions are as of the time you're completing the form. So, for instance, if the dishwasher broke 3 years ago, but you had it fixed, there's nothing wrong with it. There are no issues. It was already fixed. But these 2 things, if they ever happened, you have to disclose them. Now, moving down to number 8 on this page, any features shared in common. Most of us have walls in our backyard we share with our neighbors. This is where you're going to say yes. Number 9, common interest community. If you have an HOA, yes, I have an HOA. Yes, I have bylaws available. Yes, I have periodic fees. Hopefully you don't have any unpaid assessments or any litigation or assessments other than property taxes. If you have a SID or lid, this would be the place to put that in. If you do have, that would be right here. Any assessments, excuse me, that's 9E. Any assessments associated with property, excluding property taxes, that would be a SID or a lid. That would be one of the things you would say yes here. Any construction made without permission of the association. We get down to the bottom of page 2. Number 11 is interesting. It's any other conditions, anything that you think the buyer should know about. This is where you say yes. Oh yeah, by the way, I need to tell you about something. What that is, I'm not sure. It could be anything. But if you think there's something the buyer should know, this is the place to tell them. Say yes, and then you're going to explain it on page 3. Lead-based paint, if it was built before December 31st of 77. Your water source, is it municipal? Down here is your wastewater disposal. Is it municipal? Do you have solar panels? And if you do, are they owned or leased? Very important. If they're leased, make sure you not only check it off here, but make sure you counter it. Make sure your agent counters that when you get an offer from a buyer so that the buyer understands that they're going to have to assume your payments. Very important. Conservation easement, number 14. I want to get back to that one. Has the Southern Nevada Water Authority given you money to take out a lawn or remove a pool? They pay money. If they do, you need to tell your buyer about that because it could affect his ability to do things in the future, his or hers, I should say. It would affect their ability to do things in the future. You need to let them know about that right here. And then the last one is the property subject to a private transfer fee obligation? This is a question related to a developer who years ago, when he sold property to his buyers, he made them sign a document saying that they sold it within a certain time frame, they'd have to give him some money. It's very rare, very, very rare, but it did happen, and that's why this is here. Again, you're going to initial the bottom here of page 2. Page 3. Page 3, you're explaining all the yeses. Explain them fully. Write in as much detail in your own words, anything and everything you know about that yes. Yes, I do live in an HOA. Yes, I do pay periodic fees. Yes, I do share my walls with my neighbors. Yes, we did have water damage back in 2015, and we had it fully fixed and remediated. And oh, by the way, we're going to attach all those documents to this for you, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. Explain it all here on page 3. Initial the bottom of page 3, right down here again. Page 4. A lot of verbiage on page 4. And then you're going to initial the bottom of page 4 as well, right down here, right down there. And then you're also going to sign and date at the bottom of page 5. Pages 4 and 5 are going to tell you all the horrible things that are going to happen to you if you lied on pages 1, 2, and 3. Hopefully this was helpful to you as you're completing your seller's real property disclosure. If you did find this video helpful, feel free to review our other videos at brownblankfeld.com, www.brownblankfeld.com. And once again, thank you for choosing the Brown Blankfeld Group to meet your real estate needs. If you ever have a question, please call or text me at 702-203-1165. Again, thanks very much for watching.